Now that you've had a chance to think and talk about me, before I hear what you have to say, I have to say I'm sorry. Not for what I said, but just how I said it. I dropped this angry bombshell and I left. I was going to tell you guys eventually. I thought about it so many times. What I would say and how I would say it. And while I was walking, I realized there's so much I didn't say. I remember the day Gran kicked my parents out. It all started with me. I blame myself. For just like today, one move changes everything in life. Something so innocent wrecks everything. I was in 5th grade and school was doing the yearly fundraiser selling chocolates. Whoever sold the most won a prize. All the other years I never bothered. Didn't care to participate, but this year's grand prize was a Furby. It was so cute. It was purple, my favorite color. Since they came out, I wanted one. I thought it was a sign. I was so motivated. Gran could tell how excited I was too. We went around to all the houses in our neighborhood, but most of my classmates had already been to the houses. I almost gave up, but then Gran took me to her church, and then we even rode the bus and sold to passengers. Every day at school, I'd compare to see how much others sold. By the end of it, I sold $350 worth. I knew I had won, but I made the mistake of telling my parents. Grant told me not to say anything, but I let it slip. I was just so happy about finally getting a Furby. I'm not sure how they were able to get into Gran's purse, because she usually had it hidden from them, but anyways, the next morning the money was gone and my parents were too. I searched everywhere. Refused to believe that they would have taken the money. I kept saying to Gran, maybe you lost it. Maybe it's somewhere else. Maybe... Gran snapped at me. It was the only time I ever remember her yelling at me. But she took it back right away. I went to school that Friday with no money to pay. Gran had to talk to the principal and explain. I could tell she was embarrassed. She agreed to $50 every 2 weeks until it was paid off. I wasn't embarrassed until I got to class. After bragging all week about how much money I made, when my classmates asked the amount, I said I miscounted. And it wasn't enough. My heart was broken seeing that Furby, my Furby, given to a kid that had already had one. I got home from school that day. Gran didn't say much to me. I didn't say much either. Next morning, I noticed clothes in clear garbage bags at the front door. My heart sank when I realized it was my mom and dad's stuff. The bag stayed there for a week. They didn't show up. The following Friday morning, I opened the door to leave for school, and my parents were there. I think they were hoping we would have forgotten or something. Gran told me to wait inside the house. I peeked through the curtains. Could tell Gran was yelling, but I couldn't make out what she was saying. I saw my mom shaking her head no in denial, and my dad was getting angry and yelling. Then the door opened. They grabbed their bags. Dad looked right at me with no remorse. He just didn't care. Like I wasn't even there. Mom did a quick glance. Our eyes met, and then she quickly looked away, and that was it. I think about everything about that day and the events that led up to it. So many things could have been different. What if I didn't sell chocolates? What if I didn't raise all that money? Well, why did I want the Furby? Why did I mention the money? That was the final straw for Gran. But I know there were other reasons for why Gran kicked them out. It was bigger than the stolen money. It was her trying to keep them away from me. She didn't want their life for me. I'm a disappointment to her now. I know that. I disappoint myself too. These last 15 years have been a blur. It's like it was just drinking and then a few pills, and if it made me happy, it wasn't bad. I had control. It was just enough to mask the pain of missing Gran. Broken home. Then it just spiraled, and every time I sobered up, I felt like such a failure. So I did it again to get rid of the feeling. You guys know I'm more than an addict. You both saw me as more, and it helped me a lot, but now that I know what you think of addicts, I can't erase or unhear your hurtful words. Life is supposed to be wins and losses. What goes up comes down, pain and joy, and we were accepting and expecting a combination of what we want and what we don't want. But it seems most of my life, it's been all that I don't want. When Gran was here, she was the up part to everything. And then she was gone, and it was just down, down, down. It's not fair. It really isn't. And being with my ex, that was bad too. It was either I suffered with his highs and lows, or I joined, and it was easier to share. Just join him, at least that's what I thought. It's confusing. The whole time I knew what I was running away from, what pain I was hiding. But we dated on and off for 15 years, and I still don't know what his reason was. I think, well, I believe that behind every addiction, there are deeper issues. Unresolved pain. So what was his? It's a long time to be with someone when you don't really know them. Why didn't I ask him? Right now, people keep saying, think positive, and even at AA and NA, my counselor, everybody just keeps saying, look on the bright side. Don't dwell on the negative, but how can I not? First, if I'm lucky enough to get a positive, I know it's not going to last. The bad is coming, and look what happened here. I was happy moving in, meeting you both, but I knew it wouldn't last, and it didn't. I know I'm more than my addiction, but I must keep telling myself that. Plus, today is just extra hard because my mom skipped rehab again. I judge her and I judge myself, yet I'm asking you not to judge me and to not judge others like me. How is that fair? It makes no sense. Getting sober is the hardest thing I have ever had to do. And seeing my mom struggle and fail over and over. My dad ODing. What the fuck is going to happen to me? Doesn't history repeat itself? Can I really change what others think of me? I guess remaining sober to show you guys and everyone else that I'm not such a screw up is a step, but then am I doing it to prove something to others or for myself? I don't know anymore. All I know is that I have been so happy here, and now I think I've ruined everything by being honest. The negative voice in my head was telling me I shouldn't have said anything, and just shut up. It was simple, and I messed it up. Move to a place, meet new people, nice people, get clean, don't bring up my past. But then I did. The easiest part, I thought, was keeping quiet about my addiction, and I couldn't even do that. I have a long way to go for recovery because although I know I'm grown and I'm responsible for my choices, I can't stop myself from blaming my parents and all that I witnessed. And I love my gran, but I blame her too. She died and left me here, unprotected, to deal with my parents and life in general. And that's not fair to her, because she died suddenly. That wasn't her plan. She didn't want her daughter to be an addict. She didn't want her daughter to marry an addict. She didn't want substance abuse to be an issue for me either. I remember the look in her eyes sometimes when she was dealing with my parents. It was pain and stress and love there too. She tried to keep things together. She was so strong, so I have to be strong. I know that much. That's why every day I tell myself and beg myself not to give up on me. And I ask you both now, Now that you know, I hope you don't give up on me either, because it's more than just drugs and booze.